Hey, what's up, everybody? We are live right now with Matt going crazy and, of course, Fletch with All Things Overlanding. So stay tuned and see what we can learn from Fletch and what's happening in 2022. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
I see you got rid of the dog, babe. Thanks.
Yes,
I appreciate
did.
that.
I mean, I like him being up there.
What's up, Fletch? How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good. Is it cold there?
Yeah, it was like high 30s today, so it was actually kind of warm. But it has been
That was the high?
Yeah.
The high was high 30s?
Yeah, but it's been like low teens here for the last week. It's been cold.
Okay,
like,
so
not
for
even want
those
to get out in the truck.
that don't know where you are, who you are, brief intro time.
Who are you?
Ooh, okay. On the spot. My name's Fletch. I have a YouTube channel called All Things Overlanding. So I think that's why I'm here. I don't know. Or you guys like me. I don't know. What else? What did you ask?
You're here for the Infinity that you don't have anymore.
Yeah, I got rid of the Infinity, so that's gone. Sorry, everybody. I have no snow, so that is unfortunate. It's just been cold. Yeah, it's been cold, but no snow, nothing like that. So I'm waiting. I need to move to Michigan or Wisconsin. I'm in Indiana, though, so it's just kind of cold and no snow ever. It's terrible.
Flat. Oh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Flat, no snow, just cold.
Yeah, one national forest, just gravel roads. It's probably the worst state. I don't know.
So tell me why you're there.
Sounds incredible. I mean,
this is where I was born. I don't know. I didn't realize you could move places after you grew up and got older. I just kind of
so stayed. All Things Overlanding is a bit of a stretch.
Yeah, I think that I came up with that idea like 5 years ago. I still think it's a great name for a channel because it's
great name.
Gear reviews to trip videos to modifications to do-it-yourself stuff. That's kind of I'm all over the board. But anything related, even tacitly related to overlanding, I'm into. So I can't stop buying gear.
Yeah, Matt did tell me. He was just like, okay, you've got to talk about his builds. And you sent me this picture. And I'm assuming you built those drawers.
My junky Xterra. Well, when you say I built the drawers, I have a very talented friend who actually built the drawers. I was there. I was in the garage when we built them. I designed them.
Well, there you go.
I drank beer and handed him tools, but a friend of mine actually built them. But yeah, they were awesome. I mean, I came up with the idea and we penciled it out together, but yeah, he did all the actual execution. So
yeah, Jeremiah just wants to throw out that you're pretty.
I'm kind of used to it at this point. It was awkward at first, but now I'm just thanks, Jeremiah. I love you.
Thanks. All right. So what got you into overlanding? Have you always thought about overlanding there in Indiana?
Yeah. I mean, overlanding is huge here in Indiana. There's just clubs everywhere. No, there's no overlanding really in Indiana. So like in 5 years, I mean, you guys know this too. Like even 5 years ago, it was like a few big channels, and that was about like Expedition Overland and four-wheel drive action or whatever they're called now.
Let's say 5 years ago, Trail Recon wasn't even a thing.
Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't a ton out there,
really?
But yeah, it's still pretty new.
In his garage now.
Yeah. So like I had done four-wheeling. Like I had a Jeep XJ with like a 3-inch lift and 31s on it that I off-roaded at an off-road park, 15, 20 times. And I loved that. It was super fun. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, I liked that, but the XJ is pretty small and I have a couple kids. So I was like, I'm a Nissan guy. I've had quite a few Nissans. There was like the Xterra. That's my jam. So I Googled or I YouTubed like Xterra off-road. And I hit a couple, I hit like Rogue Overland, I think was maybe around back then, but much smaller. Mm-hmm. And then I just randomly I was like, well, that looks fun. They're off-roading, but they're actually camping, like going to a place and exploring. That looks cool. And I fell down the rabbit hole, man. For 6 months, I just watched videos and I planned to build. I had a whole spreadsheet for this Xterra before I ever even found one. Parts and stuff I wanted to buy. So
So did you basically just start wheeling what you have because did you have an Xterra at that point or did you?
No, well, so I watched videos for like 6 months. I decided the Xterra was the right one. I bought it. I bought it in December, like 5 years ago. And I just got rid of it in September of last year. So I had it for almost 5 years. But yeah, I mean, I bought that thing and I think I took my first trip like a month later, like January. I think I took my first trip.
Just
Went winter camping.
Nothing done to it?
Because I had a build list, I had like parts waiting for it when I brought it home. So like I had a 2.5 inch lift and 33s ready to go. So I had like a small lift and 33s and that was about it.
I never knew that an Xterra was capable of a lift.
Yeah.
33s.
You can't go super high. Like 2.5 to 3 inches and 33s is about the right spot. Anything above that, you get into a bunch of driveline issues and stuff. But
so is it independent suspension too?
Independent front suspension, solid rear.
Okay.
It's like a 4Runner.
Yeah. I mean, they're perfectly fine.
Not
like
as long.
Yeah, they feel short. They feel like an XJ to me.
They look short.
Maybe.
Yeah. The wheelbase seems really short. So, yeah, it reminded me a lot of my XJ, but just a little bit nicer interior, a little more room on the interior.
You had an XJ and you went to an Xterra.
Yes. And it was way better. I'm sorry to say. Sorry. The 4-liter in the XJ is good.
That's not a bad move, depending on the XJs are old.
Yeah, mine was a 90 or mine was a 2000.
Yeah.
And being up in Indiana, probably had a lot of rust on it.
Actually, it was pretty clean. It was like it was literally like one of those like a one owner grandma drove it to the grocery store. Like it had the Goodyear Wranglers brand new tire, like stock OEM spec tires that someone had just put on it when I bought it. Like the thing was mint, and I got a good deal on it. So it was great.
Someone just asked, what is your opinion of SOS insurance?
What is that?
SOS insurance? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't have anything like that, but I have had very many times where I'm
the only type of SOS that I know is like whenever you need help or there's also that meal. It's called shit on shingles.
Huh?
It's called poo on shingles.
Shit.
On shingles.
Can we not say bad words?
SOS.
Yeah. SOS. It's called SOS.
Let's see where you're going with this.
I don't even know how to put that.
I don't know what the insurance is though.
I don't know. That's a new one for me. That's a random comment that you threw up there.
All over. Oh, thank you. I like the Frontier too.
He likes the Frontier.
Yeah, the Frontier is cool. I've now that it's fixed, I've been extremely happy with it. It's
Have you taken it on a trip?
I took it to Hoosier National Forest, my local only flat gravel national forest, about a month ago. I actually just dropped a video on it the other day, like Tuesday, I think. So
I watched your intro, so I didn't know if you were on gravel roads, so I didn't know if
I have finally taken it off pavement. It has driven several miles under its own power with no problem. So sweet. I think we got it fixed.
So for those that don't know, what was the issue with the Frontier without going into the nitty gritty?
Yeah, I won't go into the nitty gritty.
We don't have time for this talk.
Yeah.
That'll be a private DM for you later.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can cover the whole saga on your podcast.
Yeah.
Yes, the whole thing. Go check out the podcast, Andrew.
Part 1.
It's on there. I bought it in September, the day before Core, the Cuban Overland Adventure Retreat. For those that aren't familiar,
we love Core, Cindy. Everybody.
It was so good. Saw Matt there. Got to ride with Matt because I didn't have a truck.
That's
but
right.
Literally,
hang out.
Yeah, on my way home from picking up that truck, pulled into the gas station by my house. I picked it up from about 2 hours north, and it was making some really bad noises. So I pulled it into the driveway. I called the guy, texted him throughout the drive because the check engine light came on like 2 minutes after I left. And it turned out, we didn't know it at the time, but a couple months later, finally, I got it resolved with, thanks to the help of a couple of friends, we got it figured out. But the timing chain guides, he had installed a new timing chain guide set because that's a common issue with these motors. And something was done incorrectly, and it chewed all the teeth off the water pump. So that was the noise. That was the reason for the check engine light. It fried all the spark plugs, fried the O2 sensors. Just it was running super rich and trying to, compensate for that. But we got it all rebuilt, upgraded the starter, upgraded the alternator, and now it runs great.
Now it's solid.
Yeah,
almost like a Jeep.
Yeah, I mean, it has 211,000 miles, so I'd say it's pretty good for a Nissan.
So, what made you choose Nissan over Jeep versus Toyota versus all other things overlanding?
I mean, that's a really good question, actually. I don't have a problem with Jeep, but I've had a number of like Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge products, and not
Fiat.
one of them for me has ever not had significant problems, like transmission
Yeah.
problems or something like that. And I just wanted something like, again, I've had like 7, 8 Nissans before the Xterra, and I was like, all of them have run to 140, 150,000 miles, like really minimal maintenance, no problems. I mean, that Xterra, when I bought it, had 94K on it, and I traded it with 142, and it ran like a top. I mean, it never, ever let me down. I just beat the suspension so bad that, again, for core, I was like, do I want to like spend the next week in the garage trying to fix this thing, or can I just upgrade to like a fully armored, built up, shop built Frontier, which if it had been running would have been great, but it turned out not to.
But now it will, and you'll be fine.
It's a sweet looking rig. Are you bringing it to more?
Yes. Yeah, it'll be there.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
it's Titan soft. That's what gives it that aggressiveness. The cool thing about the Nissans too is they're like Legos. So like you can literally take the UCAs, the LCAs, the CVs, brakes, everything off of a full size Nissan Titan and slap them, bolt them right up to the frame in the Frontier. So I have a full size width in the front and then spacers in the rear. So it's not quite as wide in the rear. Mm-hmm. You can swap out the full back axle too if you want, but this guy did not do that. So
do you plan on doing anything else with it?
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of plans for building.
I mean, I've seen Titan swapped Frontiers with 37s on them. So
yeah, I mean, this has 35s, and it's big. It's pretty big, but fully armored. I mean, it's the reason I bought it was partially because it's already sort of built up, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I love Toyota too. Like I looked at Toyota, so that's the reason that I went with the Nissan was one. I like Nissans. I'm kind of loyal to Nissans. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I'm not kidding you. 5 years ago, when I looked at that 05 Xterra, so that would have been 2016. So it was 11 years old with 94,000 miles. I bought that thing for $7,000. And like when I was looking at 4Runners, you're talking like 98, 99, 2000 4Runners with like 180 to 200K on them for 11.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I can't, even if it is I give it to you, it's a better truck, right? But it has more than twice as many miles on it. And it's 7, 8 years older. Like there's component wear and time, you know, is still a factor. So
what gas mileage do you get on the Frontier?
It's not good. It's
not good. Go ahead, say a number. Let's see if you can beat mine.
I have not, because I haven't driven
it that much. It's the gas mileage game. I feel like we should have a do.
Yeah, I have not done like a full on like fill it up and then wear it down and see what I get. But if I had to guess, I would say 12 to 14, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah, that's what I get.
You're talking Jeep language.
yeah, that's what I get with a Gladiator.
Yeah.
But tell him what you get with a Gladiator pulling the tank.
9 on a good day.
Yeah. That's why I with the second vehicle.
Yeah. So let's talk about this second vehicle. You went with was it a Bronco?
No.
No.
It was a Ford.
It's Bronco's tiny baby brother.
Tiny baby.
It's not at all related. It's the Bronco Sports baby brother.
So what is this?
It's the Bronco Sport with the booty on the back.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. Bronco Sport with a 4.5 foot bed.
She got some junk in her trunk.
I tell you what though, so this is hard for me to say that I have ordered a Ford, and I don't have any problem against Ford. I've fallen completely out of the domestic world, but like in looking, so I had my Infiniti before. It was a great car, but it was like 7 years old, had like 65,000 miles on it, and I never drove it. It just sat in the garage. And it just hit me, like, especially with the Frontier being so big and built and stuff, like it's not as much fun to drive. Like my Xterra still felt pretty stock.
Yeah.
But the Frontier just is big. It's big and it's really long and it's got the spare on the back. So it's a different beast to drive like daily. And then I was like, I never drive this Infiniti. Why am I paying for this car? Why did I buy this car and put it in the garage and drive it like 4,000 miles a year? And used prices are crazy. So I like threw it online in a thing and I was surprised by the number that came back. And so in trading for the Maverick, it's almost it's like a $12,000 difference for a new Maverick.
That's incredible.
So
I was like,
and what all do you have coming on it?
Gallon.
Are you going to do anything? Like, are you going to lift it?
I've already got a whole list. Yeah.
Is that stuff available? Do you have
a spreadsheet for the Maverick?
I have a build sheet already. Yeah.
But is that stuff available or is it all on back order because,
Yeah,
COVID?
All aftermarket. Pretty much everything I'm looking at is aftermarket, but probably a 2-inch lift, 31s, new wheels. I'm planning for, I don't think I can officially say this, but unofficially, I talked to a company that makes similar to like the Cascadia custom built solar panels for the hood.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, hey, I'm going to get a Maverick when I get one. If I measure it and help you make one, could I maybe have a discount on one or something? So I'm working on my thoughts are AGM battery, hood mounted, flat, custom looking nice, not a bolt on solar panel like I had before, but a nice looking custom one for a Maverick. On the hood,
quick, is it 4-wheel drive or 2-wheel drive?
It's all-wheel drive. So
Okay.
yeah, I got the 2.0T motor, about 250 horse, 4-cylinder turbo motor, FX4 package, luxury package, 4K towing package, all that good stuff. So
it's Gucci.
Should be pretty cool.
Is it gonna have good tires?
Yeah, that's where I was just going at that. Like I loved
what Troy was wanting to know.
Yeah, hey Troy. I'm gonna put a 2-inch lift on it, and then they say you can do 31s with no rubbing. I'm probably gonna do. Honestly, I really liked those Kenda Cleaver RTs that I had before on my Xterra. Those things were beasts, and they were great on road.
Isn't that what's on the tank?
We have the MTs on the tank.
Okay.
Yeah,
the
MTs
RTs
just
are think like your Toyo RTs that you had on your Wrangler.
Okay.
You're welcome, Dan.
Yeah. Dan Brown also wants to throw out and say he loves the Newbies Facebook channel.
Thanks, Dan.
Fletch.
Yeah, that thing is cool. That's the picture that I sent you with that sticker. And the reason for that was just like, I think it was like a month and a half ago.
The best sticker I've ever seen you produce. Look at that.
All right, well, this interview's over. I'm out here.
And they're silent. So hi guys, welcome to Cara's show.
It's nice.
Hey, he made better stickers after those ones that he sent us.
After your ridicule,
when you're challenged, you have to step up your game.
Yeah, I spent some money, but
are you getting those newbie?
Do what?
Are you getting those in a patch?
Yeah, so I've ordered a patch, and in the next few weeks those should be coming. But it's just a Facebook group, right? Intended for new, like you've seen it. You guys have been on Overlanding USA, and it is a disaster there.
It's terrible.
Like it is just unmoderated, and like you can't even ask a question. I feel like it's just
if you can, but you better if you have any.
You gotta have thick skin.
I don't go in there. I will cry.
I think it's fun.
Yeah. Well, and that was kind of my thing, right? Is like, I mean, even though I've been doing it for a few years, I still view myself as very much a newbie, right? Like there are a million, like you guys have gone on 1,000 more trips than I have.
And honestly, and I kind of have to remind Matt to have that mentality, because if not, he could get, in trouble real quick. But I kind of like, babe, we have to drive this home. And all the way to Big Bend, he's flying down the road and like not putting on his turn signal, Fletch. And I'm just like, I remember that one time he got pulled over and the cop told him exactly how many times he didn't use his turn signal. And I was like, babe, we have our home on the back of the Gladiator. Our home.
It was the Grand Cherokee.
I've never gotten pulled over for turn signals. I didn't even know they did that.
He was bored.
Yeah, well, when you get up to the number like 42, you're going to get pulled over.
It was 4.
4.
It was 4.
That's a few times. Yeah, Matt Fry is scared.
He was in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's USA is interesting.
So you do several podcasts, in the Facebook group, obviously, but you do the podcast. You're like, I'm interviewing a podcaster.
Yes.
How long have you been doing that?
I've been doing it for a couple of years. Yeah, 2 years.
Okay. And what all do you do?
Literally started it purely. I had a girl that I worked with who did podcasting stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And she's like, you need to, hey, Chris. She was like, you need to do a podcast too. And I was like, okay, fine. Right. I just started doing it. But now I really like it. Like the podcast has been awesome because it engages, like there's so many people that I think listen to podcasts and maybe don't hang out on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. And I get messages all the time. It's really cool from people that listen to podcasts from all over the place. So
yeah, it's hard having a second job. I don't know if you also have a full-time job, but it's hard to, because I have a backlog that I need to upload to my Anchor to go to the podcast part of things, because normally I do just the lives and I'm like, okay, I'm tired now. I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
So
after this podcast is over, it's bedtime.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Because you'll actually probably hear my alarm go off on my phone because, bedtime. But so does your wife and your kiddos go? I know you sent me a lot of pictures, and of course I know you, so I know your family, but here's your beautiful
there they
family.
are. Yeah, so they are not as into it. So like my wife is, we've gone. So we go on camping trips. They've never really been on an overlanding trip.
Like state parks.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, no, we'll go to a national forest. I refuse to.
Okay.
I hate
Oh, really?
No offense to people like them, but there's too many people, there's too many noises. It's just not fun. I just don't like it.
What about national parks?
I don't have anything around me, so I mostly target national forests around me. Just go do dispersed stuff, but they've pretty much only ever been to Hoosier National Forest.
Outside of Indiana.
I know they're really far away, hence why they call it the Midwest. Like it's 11, 12 hours to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, which is beautiful, and I go there like once a year. But
that's like a little bit longer than an 8-hour day of work.
Yeah, it's not.
You can make that in a day. Matt drove from Michigan to Arkansas in a day.
Sure, it did.
Yeah, I mean, I did that in one day up there for core last year.
Now you can just go all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about miles on the truck, obviously. So
yeah, exactly. So y'all like to go. You don't do state parks, so you'll go to the forest. So you go.
We'll go to the national forest. Yeah,
the one forest that you have in Indiana. What is that forest called?
It's called Hoosier National Forest. It's pretty. I mean, it's a really nice national forest. It's well maintained. It's nice. There's no challenging trails or water crossings or anything cool. It's just gravel roads.
Is it kind of like the Ouachitas? Would you compare it to? Have you been?
Yeah,
to the
I would say.
You've been.
That's from Matt's video. I mean, that's my knowledge of the Ouachitas. But yeah, that's pretty much. Except that's even better. Like there aren't any like waterside campsites or anything. It's all just wooded, basically spots.
Gotcha.
So,
have you been? Where have you been? Have you been in here in Arkansas at all? Like Washington?
So I went over there for more last year, more expo, of course. But it was like negative 58 degrees every day. So none of us camped, which was disappointing. I didn't get to hit any trails. Yeah, that was brutal.
Dang.
Yeah. So I've been to West Virginia on like a 4 or 5 day trip that was really cool, really pretty. Mm-hmm. I've been to the UP a few times, Manistee National Forest, up to Copper Harbor. Been down to Land Between the Lakes in Kentucky, which is pretty cool.
LBL is great.
I've hit some Wisconsin.
How far is LBL from you?
LBL is about 7 hours, so it's not too bad.
About the same for me too.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
That's the spot where we could like meet in the middle.
Yeah, we should do that. That would be fun.
Plan a little mingle.
And it's an actual place with real trails. So
it is. It's great. And
I've heard it's beautiful.
Campsites. Fantastic campsites.
So Brian wants to know, do you think a stock Tundra can make it all the way through the TAT in Arkansas?
That's a question for Jeremiah. Yes. He just did that.
Jeremiah just did it. But yeah, I mean, the TAT is actually a motorcycle adventure trail. So yeah, it's definitely doable for a stock vehicle. It's all dirt roads through Arkansas.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
Cool.
But I did see Jeremiah's video, and it is some beautiful stuff that even some stuff I've never seen.
Matt from Fries on the Side is in the house, and he said, I will meet there with y'all.
Yeah. Let's go. He's only like 7, 8 hours.
I don't currently have plans after more.
Yeah.
I don't currently have plans after more. So
that's do
something.
If I can do it, it'll be after it because we're in DC. The whole family's in. We're taking a trip to DC right before more, and I get back like Thursday.
But isn't the bonfire?
That's the next weekend. Uh-huh. Bonfire run is the last weekend of April.
But the actual official bonfire thing
is the last weekend of April.
Okay. So there's that week. There's a week in between the two.
Yes.
Okay. So you would have time.
Yeah. So maybe right after more though. I got to talk the wife into it after leaving her with the kids as soon as we get back from a trip for 3 or 4 days. But what's the difference between 4 and 5 or 6? You know.
Right.
It's just like a little extended trip.
I mean, after 3, it just you become numb to the kids, and you're like, be gone a week, sure.
I mean, they have iPads. She'll be fine.
So, what do you do what is your full-time job? Fletch? Can you just take off like this?
Yeah, I'm extremely fortunate. So for the last couple of years, I've been working with a buddy of mine that was a vendor of mine. So my background's like marketing and operations.
Okay.
mostly. So like I was a COO at like a small 20-ish person marketing firm for the last like 3 or 4 years before this job. Mm-hmm. And then this guy was a vendor of ours, but he approached me and was like, hey, I'm starting this tech startup. So we actually have a software product that we make that's kind of like sales enablement type stuff, like introductions, recommendations and stuff where you can like, we could all be in like what we call a bonfire is what we call it. And like I could see who you're connected to and you can see who I'm connected to. And then we can like request introductions from each other and get warm introductions to people that could use our products, for example.
So like a LinkedIn kind of thing?
Kind of, but easier and better. We tie into HubSpot. So people that use HubSpot will know what I'm talking about, but we can pull in all those work. So it's like a software company and it's just the two of us really. So like this Friday, I'm leaving and going on a trip this weekend. And I was just like, hey, I'm going to not work on Friday. I'll get all my stuff done this week. And he's like, cool, man. Like it's super flexible.
That's awesome. So do you have like a group up there that you go camping with, or do you like make a lot of solo trips?
I do solo mostly. Yeah. There's not, I mean, there are definitely people around and I'm meeting more and more every day, but like, I also kind of like the solidarity. Sometimes I just like to get away and like, especially it's weird and you guys will get this, but like for everyone that's like watching or listening, that's always like, I want to go on a trip with you. I would love to, but like, you don't understand what a trip is like for me. Like I went on a 2-day, the one with the Frontier was almost all day, both days shooting video pictures. Like being a YouTuber is a really weird way to take a trip. Cause like you got to stop constantly and throw a drone up and put a camera out and go back and get it. And you're talking to the camera and people are like ducking out of the way behind. It's just, I've taken some friends with me and at the end of it, they were like, that was really weird.
Like, all my friends are used to it.
Sorry. Yeah.
It's a struggle though. I know, babe, you have mentioned, Matt, like whenever it's just a lot of trouble setting up film, running back to get your camera. Like it's just a lot of stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. So it's just, it's just a lot.
I go by myself because I feel like I'll ruin it for everybody else, like that West Virginia trip was a couple of years ago and I went with like 3 other guys that are not into videoing anything. Yeah. And on that whole like 4-day trip, I got maybe like 20 minutes of footage. Like that's it. Couldn't do it.
Do you ever have times where you're like, let's just go to just go and not to film?
Yeah. When I go with the family, I pretty much never film. We just go and camp and hang out and play with the dog and stuff.
Yeah.
Ooh, Michigan. Bring Grant. Yeah, Grant would be fun.
Bring Grant. What's the tow capacity on the Bronco? You can't tow the tank. That's why.
33 is either I think it's 3,000 or 3,500.
It's real low.
It's the same as a Wrangler. Yeah. It's pitiful.
It's real low, and there's nothing you can do about that, right?
My Maverick will tow 4,000 pounds.
That'd be pushing it with tank.
Yeah.
Like it'd be
real close.
Heavy. That's crazy.
Yeah. Troy recommends that we need to get a camera crew.
Well, we kind of do when we take Nathan.
Oh, Nathan wasn't here. Maybe Nathan's still in here. He's the camera and the cook. He's the all-in-one band. Now, do you ever take this little person?
Yeah, so she's new. She's just over a year old. That's Bella. She's my baby.
Bella. No, so that's not Bella.
That's Bella. That's more recent. So the first one was like 6-7 months ago, probably in the Xterra, and then this one is newer.
Okay.
But that's the plan. For Christmas she got her own sleeping bag. So
what?
I think they make dog sleeping bags. I don't know if you knew that or not. It's on my Instagram. There's a picture of her laying in it, sleeping in it. She loves it.
That's not going to work for us. They're going to be in our sleeping bag.
Yeah, she's not going to sleep in it, but.
So then why'd you get it? Because I wouldn't be allowed to do that because of
adorable. Yeah, she chews up beds. She won't have a dog bed. She destroys them, but she loves the sleeping bag. She lays in that all the time. So we pretty much just leave it in the living room. But I'll bring it with me and see if she'll sleep in it. But I bet she'll just be in mine beside me. So
yeah, that's
the plan when it warms up this year as we got her a year ago from October. So then we got her in the winter, and then we hit spring and she was still a puppy and would not listen to anything. And now she's finally kind of hitting her stride where she's learning some things and she's fairly obedient. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Lee said she gets the solitude thing. She does the same thing on her photo trips. Her friends say, so how many pictures are you going to take of that one bird?
For me, it's the truck. And it's just, my wife is like, do you not have enough pictures of your truck yet? And I'm like, no, I need a different angle. I need to throw the drone up.
Yeah. And do you ever struggle with finding the right thing, like, because YouTube and Instagram, it's all about what's prevalent now, what's trending. And so do you ever have struggles trying to keep up with that content, or do you kind of do your own thing?
I just do my own thing. Yeah, no, I don't, because I just don't care. Like, if you look at my videos, the majority of them have like 150 to 500 views probably. And I just make my own stuff and do what I want. Because
I couldn't tell you how many Matt's has because I don't watch them.
Yeah. Obviously, because you didn't know I had a Maverick coming.
No, I'm talking about my husband. I don't even watch ours. Like, if I have it, if I'm in it, I do have to screen what I'm in. Like, I'm like, babe,
it's different to
I
watch
look a little bit too big in that. I don't like that angle. That's why you only see like my head up.
Yeah. I can't listen to myself. Like, one time I recorded a podcast, this was like a year ago, and I got a message from someone and they were like, hey, did you realize there's like a 7-minute spot in the middle of that episode that's just nothing? It's just dead air. And I was like, no, I did not know that. And I went back and I listened, and somehow I drug it over. And when I did it, like, put like a spacer in between it, and I just didn't even realize it. And I uploaded the whole thing, and it just has like a giant gap of nothing in it. But I can't listen to myself. I just hate myself when I listen to myself.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Dan said, why did Ford bring back the name Maverick for a truck?
I don't understand.
The best of cars when the Maverick was originally released.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, nostalgia would be my only guess. Like,
they're going through a nostalgia thing, I think.
Yeah, especially Bronco, Maverick. Yeah, I think they're
trying to ride that trend.
They need to bring back the Pinto.
Yeah. Well, I didn't buy it for the name. I literally just bought it because I was like, ooh, it gets twice the gas mileage, 2.5 times the gas mileage of my truck. But it would be fun to take to Hoosier National Forest, and I can throw the kids in it and get lumber with it and like use it as an actual truck that doesn't have a rooftop tent on it. So
yeah. Matt Fry said, let's talk about the hammock on Lake Superior. A t-shirt, baby blanket, and a Chevy commercial.
I wish I was there for that.
Do you know about this, Cara?
I have no idea, but I sound like this is not going to be approved for my show. I don't.
No, it's
I don't.
No, I can
keep it PG. Yeah,
I like how you say I can keep it PG. Like there's an option.
Yeah. No, there wasn't anything inappropriate. So the first night, the night before Core, most people go up and like camp on Lake Superior.
I think it is because Matt
I was camping in a Cabela's parking lot.
Matt didn't have a clue. He wasn't he was stuck in the circle. He wasn't in the circle.
I took him out there the next day. I rode out there with him so he could see the lake. And
I don't remember being told about this night before thing because
you weren't invited, babe.
Might have been able to make that. I don't remember being told about that.
They don't want you there.
That's what
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a vehicle. So like I literally worked with Matt Fry to be like, hey buddy, please can I ride in your Jeep and go somewhere? So like, and then like I had gone the year before. So that's the only reason I knew about it. But like, I don't know if it's like a well-known thing or not, but, but so because I didn't have my rig, I didn't have a rooftop tent, I didn't have any of my gear, I brought a hammock and we were like, the spot that Matt Fry and I picked was like right on the lake, like on the lake shore. And I strung this hammock up between these two trees, and it was windy that night. And it got down to probably like 20s, 30s. And
you're like on the edge of a bluff, like that.
Yeah,
bluff there.
I was on the lake, like the lake effect was hitting me, and I'm in this hammock, and I just had like a t-shirt and like a light, like this, kind of like a pullover, and I had one little tiny down blanket, and that's all I had. So I just shivered all night on the lake, and then the next morning, so then the worst part, where the Chevy commercial.
You didn't have Jeremiah to come in there and cuddle with you?
No, he was cuddling with Braxton. Yeah, he was cuddling with Braxton. So I don't know. I've been replaced, I guess. I don't know. But the next morning at I kid you not, like 5 o'clock in the morning, I just hear like voices and like loud banging and car doors opening and closing 20 times in a row. I'm like, what is happening? I was so mad. I'm like, what? Like, who is doing this? And this hammock has like a rain fly on it. So like I kind of like unzipped it. I'm kind of like leaning out and looking. And there's like camera crews everywhere and like people running around. And I'm like, within like 5-10 feet of my hammock. And I'm like, what is like, do you not see my hammock is yellow? Like, do you not see the fluorescent yellow hammock like right next to you and know it's 5 o'clock in the morning and someone's sleeping?
Was it really that early?
So yeah. So then I hear Matt Fry get out and he comes over and I see him coming and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And he's like, it looks like they're shooting a Chevy commercial. So I get out of my tent. I'm freezing. I get out, and there's literally like a brand new Chevy Silverado Z71 parked up on the bluff. They're taking pictures. They've got big, fancy, expensive equipment and stuff. There's like they're opening and closing the doors and saying reshoot and like moving. And I'm like, they were just shooting a Chevy commercial out on the point, and they were just like, "Sorry, guy in the hammock, you're in our way. We're just going to shoot it anyways." So
I would like to see the editing they did.
12 hours. Yeah.
I would love for you to have been in that commercial and pull out, like to jump out of the hammock and be like, with your baby blanket.
At one point, I did exclaim loudly, "Chevys suck," and I'm pretty sure they heard me. But
yeah, Brian said, "Did you sleep like a rock?"
No, I didn't
as
really.
Strong as you could be, like a rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's so crappy. That's a crappy song.
It was fun. It ended up being fun. I mean, it was a good story, right? That's all that matters.
Yeah.
It was worth it.
Okay, so you're gonna have your Frontier as your off-road.
Mm-hmm. That'll be the gnarly trails truck. That'll be the Ozarks truck.
You're gonna have the Maverick.
Soft roader. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And daily, right? Like that's again the Frontier. It's really weird. I think if I had put them side by side, the Xterra and the Frontier, I mean, the Frontier is a quad cab, regular bed, 5.5 foot bed, I think. And then it's got a swing out on the rear too and a bumper on the front. So, I mean, it's in my driveway. It's huge. It doesn't fit in my garage. It's too tall for my garage and it's on 35s and it's Titan swap. So it's a full size width and a mid-sized truck body. So it's just big all around and gets terrible gas mileage. But so like, obviously it's going to do things that the Maverick will never do. So like if I'm going to the Ozarks or LBL or DB, BB, the Daniel Boone Backcountry Byway or Michigan, I'll take the Frontier. But if I'm just going to Hoosier National Forest with the family or a solo trip or whatever, then I'll probably take the Maverick. So
do you ever travel like Southwest ish? Do you ever go to Colorado?
I haven't been out there. I need to get out there, but I haven't. Okay. I mean, I'd feel good with a brand new truck, right? I wouldn't be as worried as a 211,000 mile Nissan that's highly modified.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, for sure. So, do you have any plans for the trip in 2022? I know you're coming to more, but are you going to go anywhere else?
I'm doing more. I'm doing more Expo Core. I'll be doing that. I think. I don't know. Cindy will yell at me if I'm not allowed to say this, but
the extra thing that's special. I think it's extra special and it's not been released.
There's like an extra thing, and I would like to try to get to that too. So, and then I'd love to get something together with Matt Fry. We keep talking about it, but we're about 7 hours apart. But
okay, I was about to ask how far away y'all are from each other.
Yeah, it's enough that it's a lot and there's nothing in between us. So I either have to go all the way up to him and then a few hours from his house, or he has to come all the way down here and then we have to go a few hours from my house.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. What do you put in your coffee, Fletch?
Do what?
What do you put in your coffee?
I don't drink coffee. I'm one of those weirdos.
None of us do. There we go.
This is the group of non-coffee drinkers.
Monster Energies for me, man. That's all I do.
I'm telling you, Got Your Six needs to make a hot chocolate.
Ooh, I would do that.
Ooh, I need to talk to him.
He can surely do that, right? He has the capacity.
I mean,
I don't know. That's a whole different thing than roasting coffee beans. That's a whole different process.
I don't know anything about it.
It's just heating it up. It's just the powder, right? Like you would just,
just like you would grind beans.
Grind your coffee beans?
Grind cocoa. I don't know anything about those processes.
I'm just thinking of the packets. Like, can't they mix their own packets?
He could buy bulk Nestle's hot chocolate from Sam's, put it in his Got Your Six bags, slap a name on it, and who would know?
Yeah.
I know.
Make a premium.
Just go to the store and buy some Swiss
Miss.
Miss.
They could even do like Got Your Six Sissy OOA hot cocoa. I'm okay with that. You've heard it here first, people.
Yeah.
Okay, so very important question from Dan Brown. Fletch.
Yeah,
have
let's
you
talk
added
about the Red Arc system.
A Red Arc system to your truck yet?
Hey, listen. So I got that right before I got rid of the Xterra, right? So like I have a buddy who's an electrician and very knowledgeable of car stuff that was going to help me. I mean, I understand basic electronics, but I was like, I don't want to mess this up. So we had plans to like install it on the back of my drawer system, the Xterra and everything. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to get rid of it. I'm not going to put that in there. All that happened around the same time where I made that decision to get rid of it. And then the Frontier didn't run for 2.5 months. So the Frontier started running last month. So now I have plans. I'm going to build a platform and a whole system in the back for my fridge. Got a new IceCo with a slide that's really nice that I'm going to build into the back seat of the Frontier. And I'm going to build a wall basically that will separate the other half of the seat so my kids can ride in the back if they need to, and that's going to be where my Red Arc stuff's going to go. So
I'm not familiar with the Frontier. Does it have? Hey, pause.
I have the Red Vision, the full Red Vision stuff.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and I bought a lithium battery, and so like I've got an AGM starter, and I've got a 100 amp hour lithium battery as the secondary one, and I've got solar, so like I'm all ready to go. I just have to wire everything, all of it. I've got like 18 different sets of lights on the truck too. So
I just googled Frontier because I had no idea what a Frontier looked like this whole time.
You've been showing pictures on it.
But you can't see the back end, so I couldn't figure out what it looked like. So it's basically like a Nissan Titan and a Ford Ranger had a baby.
Kind of, yeah, same idea.
Yeah,
it's Nissan's version of Nissan's version of the Tacoma and the Gladiator. They're all in the same category.
Is this what Chevy Colorado and them just got?
Yeah, Cindy has a Frontier.
Oh, so y'all gonna be the Frontier Club? Y'all are the new Frontiers.
I was super proud of her when she bought it. Hers is much newer than mine.
Okay. Gotcha. I'm sitting here. Because I've never I don't know vehicle names well. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I
I sold cars for like 3 years when I was in college, so like I'm a huge car guy. That's all I talk about. My wife hates it.
Yeah. Well, I will say I am highly interested in this Red Arc system. I have no clue how to work it. But I know I want one for our tank because we have a Renogy, is that right?
Renogy solar controller.
Renogy solar panel thing, and that's one of the tank's downfalls. For those that have not seen on our YouTube channel, The New Camper, go watch that video.
Yeah,
but that's one of its weak
points. The electronics are not set up the best. Yeah, the Renogy's 30 amp solar controller and a NOCO DC to DC charger. They don't communicate to each other. They're two separate systems. Yeah, I would love to gut it and put in a Red Vision system, but I opted not to go Red Vision for the Gladiator.
Every time y'all say Red Vision, I think of like WandaVision.
That's basically what
the Marvel.
It's about that magic. It's that. It's that magical.
It's that magical. It's got a vision.
It's got all the dark magic voodoo stuff going on in it.
Yeah, I really wish it was installed because you guys, I haven't told you this yet, but I found out another fun thing about the truck that I didn't know from the previous owner. I accidentally left my WeBoost on and haven't driven it for a few days. And despite my AGM battery, it still wore it down enough that I couldn't unlock the doors with the remote.
Ooh, that went way down.
Huh?
That went way down.
Yeah, it went way down. I mean, it was like 3 or 4 days I hadn't driven the truck, and I didn't realize it was still on. Right. And I'm not used to the new truck yet. My Xterra had an auto on and off plug, and that's what it was on. The Frontier just has one plug, and it's always on. And so I didn't switch it off. And the keys wouldn't unlock it, and the key in the door doesn't work. The key won't unlock the door. So I literally had to buy a car break-in kit and break into my own truck the other day. But where I'm going with this is it tanked I have a 1-year-old Odyssey Deep Cycle that was awesome. I loved that. It was great. I run my fridge for like 2 days. With the solar on, I would run it indefinitely. And it tanked. It killed it. It destroyed the battery. So, but if I'd had the Red Vision, like with the app and stuff, I'm pretty sure it could have been like, hey, Jason, you got something running.
Yeah. I have a Dometic fridge. That's one of the things that I purchased before me and Matt, I think we're even married. Maybe it was shortly after. But anyways, I was super proud of that Dometic fridge. Yeah, I was just super proud because he's wanted me to sell it ever since then. And I'm like, no, this is my fridge. It's my thing. I'm going to hold on to it because it has a pretty, what is it?
Insulation kit.
Insulation that comes with it. So it just looks, it's just not as janky as what some of Matt's things could look like. Let's just be real.
That's because it doesn't get used as much as my stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's true, probably. But anyways, but it has an app and it connects to that. And so I can see the battery and so I can add, I can change the temperature or whatever. But it never alerts me. It doesn't alert. Like I don't get my notifications. And so I would hope Red Arc would be a lot better than that.
Yeah, the Red Vision system is cool. It's super cool. Well, I have all that stuff going on, but it's all just dumb, right? It all doesn't talk to each other. So I just had the AGM with the solar running straight into it. Yeah, Jeremiah could probably answer this better than me in the TVMS power distribution. So I have that, but so everything runs into that, right? So then you can remotely. This is what's so cool about it. You can use the Red Vision screen, or you can use your app, right? Your app on your phone to like turn things on and off, and like, yeah, it's pretty sweet. That's why
so it's basically like a brain system too. Like it's like
yeah. I mean, you run everything through that distribution, the TVMS, and then it goes out from there, and then that's how it controls everything. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's why I didn't go with the Red Vision, because I already had all the switches and stuff in the Gladiator, and didn't want to have to gut all that to redo it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Wow.
And the batteries I have Bluetooth monitoring, so I can monitor my batteries and see the state of charge and how much charging is coming in from the Red Arc system, and so
that's awesome.
So Fletch, are you planning on putting any Red Arc stuff on the Maverick, or is that just going to be kind of like your daily driver kind of thing?
Are you putting a rooftop tent on the Maverick?
No, that's not the plan.
Okay. You can use it as a truck.
Right. That's my problem, right? Is like right now with the deck system in the back and the rack, and I've got gas cans back there and the rooftop tent, like I can't even use it as a truck. So I want to keep
Frontier and my Gladiator are not trucks. They can't be used as trucks anymore.
Right. Yeah. So I think with the Maverick, my buddy that is getting one like in the next week, he is the one who helped me build the drawer system for the Xterra. He's a woodworker. So he and I have talked about, I was like, because it's only a 4.5 foot bed, but I was like, what if we made like a platform with like a hinge with like a fold out so that you could extend it, and then you could just like throw a mattress in, like an air mattress or something in the back, and just sleep in the back of the truck. So I think that's probably going to be my plan, is to build some sort of a platform with like a hinged extension or something. Okay. And then I can sleep in there, or I may just sleep in a tent. I may just hammock camp it or.
Now, Matt has told me that you built your own RTT.
I tried to. I did not complete my rooftop tent, but I spent a lot of time.
I thought you slept in it.
I did sleep in it. It was terrible.
Okay.
Yeah. I got as far as building the whole box.
So was it a Smitty built?
No. No. It was a Fletchy built, and it was bad.
It was a Fletchy built.
It opened and everything, but then I hit the point where you have to like stitch and sew heavy duty, like waterproof fabric, and we destroyed my wife's sewing machine, and that was the end of it. That was where I said, you know what, we're done. So yeah, I had a pre-existing tent that I measured and fit in there, and that's what I slept in, and it was pretty awful. It was like being in a coffin, kind of. It's really small. It's not great.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, gazelles are nice. I like gazelles quite a bit.
I love gazelles. I nearly got a gazelle. I nearly got one of the is it off-road?
Overlander?
Overland, yeah. It's an overlanding gazelle where the zippers are like extra duty, and they have like a floor that comes out, I think. I may be totally wrong and lying. Don't believe me. Go look it up. But yeah, just as
it has more features.
It has
just really for the cost. Price. But yeah, it was a little bit more costly. But it's so long. It's so bad. I mean, if you have a truck, you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, it's like a body bag.
If the Maverick has a 4.5 foot bed, a gazelle is not going to fit in it.
It's like 6 foot.
At least not lengthwise, because it wouldn't fit in the back of my Gladiator. I lugged one all around Utah, and it had to go in diagonal, and it annoyed the crap out of me.
Yeah, get your hammock. You're good.
Yeah, the hammock is way smaller. It's more comfortable. I'm old. My back hurts when I lay on the ground. So
yeah, but you sleep good in a hammock.
Yeah, I love hammocks.
What hammocks do you use?
I have like 5 hammocks because I'm a gear junkie, and I just buy things, and then I'm like, oh, this one's not as good.
This is one reason why I love you, Fletch. I know that you don't know this about me, but I love you because you're a gear junkie. Because I myself am a gear junkie and a tech junkie, and I have a lot of things. Well, Matt says I'm going to be the problem when we decide to move full time on the road.
I had a guy.
Yeah, she don't get rid of anything.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've got Plano crates full of crap in my garage and my basement. I mean, the other day I opened up, I have like 8 flashlights in a bin. I'm like, why do I have 8 what can I do with 8?
I just told Matt we need a flashlight.
I have you covered.
We got one coming.
I'll give you a flashlight. But yeah, I mean, I had a guy call me out on one of my videos, and he was like, I think you just get a bunch of free stuff and like you would review English muffins if they gave you free muffins. And I was like, I promise you, man, like I do get some free stuff. Don't get me wrong. But like probably 75-80% of everything I've ever reviewed, I just buy it. I just buy it over and over. I bought a pry bar knife. I don't know why. I don't need to pry anything. I just thought it was cool. And I saw it on Amazon and I bought it and I did a review on it. And like a lot of people have actually been like, this is really cool. Thanks for reviewing this. And I'm like, I've never used it. It's in a drawer somewhere.
But... Well, let me tell you, we have so many solar lights, like the little things that you can string up. We have the 23-0 inflatable.
The Lucy lights.
Have the ones, we have the Lucy lights that you can blow up. All of those, like people all the time want to ask us, to get review lights and stuff. Totally have them all. What did I see on Venture to Rome? Will and Kate, shout out. Y'all are amazing people. They just got through getting a light. I was like, babe, that's a real cool light. It had a USB charger that wraps around it.
That was
charge your phone.
That was Josh, Overland AZ.
Was it? Oh, yeah. I don't think so. I'm gonna Google. I'm gonna.
The one you told me. That one you told me we needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Overland AZ.
Was it?
That was Josh.
Was it Josh? Yeah. Did I just totally butcher that? I'm gonna look.
They're kind of close to each other.
I mean, it's the same people basically.
Yeah. If they're not in the comments, then it doesn't matter.
Oh, you're right, Josh. Overland AZ. I'm so sorry, but that right there.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
See that little? And it's
you
magnetic.
said that on air. I will remember this day forever.
Well, you're basically the same as Joe Recon and me, babe. So, anyways. I'll just call you Brad.
I feel like I'm in the middle of something. I need to leave.
It's like that Homer Simpson where it's just like
into the bushes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyways, so when you have a lot of flashlights,
yes,
we have a lot of solar lights.
Yeah, that's nice. We'll see when I have my red arc, then I can just plug in a bajillion things.
I think we have one.
What's Illuminade? You mean Luminoodle?
Is that the ones that pop up and go flat?
What's Illuminade?
Isn't that one of those that you blow up?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. I don't know.
I think it is. I don't know.
Yep, I've seen those. I think they're solar too.
JL Haynes is a tent junkie.
Man, so I had a whole phase of tent stuff with a cot. Like I got to a point with like a cot and a memory foam mattress. I love tent. And you can throw a heater in there and not have to worry about it nearly as much as an RTT. It was pretty nice, but then I had so much stuff. That was my only problem with it. Between the tent and the cot and the sleeping bag and the mattress and it's just, it became too much for me.
So which hammock did you say was your go-to hammock?
Oh yeah, I didn't say. I have a Tribe hammock that's just like an old school, like no bug net, no nothing, just a hammock. I've had it for like 5 years. It's perfect. It works great. But my new favorite one it's just like a generic, I'm sure it's from China or something, but it's kind of like it's like the all-in-one where it's got poles that hold the fly up above it and it's got a built-in bug net. So it's all self-contained. That's the one I slept on Lake Superior and it was awesome. Okay. We had that storm, Matt. You remember the second night? Everybody came over and they're like, "Are you alive in there?" And I was like, "I slept like a baby. I got a little wet. Water came. I didn't time my fly up right, and it just leaked in. And I woke up in the middle of the night with a little damp back. But I didn't want to get out of the tent because it was storming so bad. So,
gosh,
but
I have a hammock, and it's like an all-in-one kind of thing. But let me tell you, it's all about the underquilt. You have to have a solid underquilt. That's where it's at.
Yeah, now, I haven't done it in the winter really.
Oh,
the rooftop tent works fine.
But it's cold there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See. So what rooftop tent do you have?
I have one of the Big Country 4x4 from Rugged Bound.
Okay.
It's one of the older.
Never heard of that company.
Yeah, like a slim.
It's a hard shell clamshell style.
Jeremiah from Overland Pioneers runs one. Chris from Moore, that's his tent.
I've
seen his. That. Yeah. So mine's a slim though, so it's really really thin. Mm-hmm. It's open in one of those pictures you've got of the Frontier. It's that tent.
Okay, is that the one?
Pop
is
up
that the same kind of thing as like Global Roads?
I don't know.
Yes, I mean they've got one like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's that wedge. Yeah, it's that wedge style.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, where is this picture taken at?
That's LBL.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah,
that looks like an Ozark picture.
Yeah. You remember when I said that the suspension was beat up on the truck? This might be why.
Slightly.
Yeah, I actually, if you look at the sort of the left side of the picture there, I pulled the fender out. The tires got into it and actually pulled the fender out, so it's kind of like bowed.
Yeah, it is bulging just a hair.
Yeah. So that's not like flares.
No, it was accidental flares. So, but it was
DIY flares.
Yeah, yeah. There's not a lot of flares for flares.
What's one of your favorite things that you've ever reviewed on your show?
Oh.
What's your favorite piece of gear?
That's really tough. I mean, I do really love that hammock a lot. Like I was surprised by it because it's the all-in-one deal. It's really, really nice. I love knives. I'm a big knife guy. And I've got quite a few Kershaws that I really, really like. But those are probably some of my favorite knives because they're super cheap. Like I like gear, but I don't like to buy good stuff, which is probably my mistake. That's why I have 8 flashlights instead of like one that works. Right?
It's the solid and knives
too. Yeah. Being budget-minded is not necessarily not wasting money, right? It's just I have a bunch of crap stuff. So yeah.
I'm with you. The only person in this house that pays for good gear is Cara.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm hitting a point in my life, right? With the Red Arc stuff, with the tent, like I'm hitting a point where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, like my Iceco fridge, I've been really happy with it. But like, yeah, I always just went with cheap, but I've had problems with them for sure.
So Kyle says a Gazelle and a cot is like camping at a Hilton, but requires Tetris skills to fit in his rig, which might I add is a Bronco. Because I know him. I know that name. I watch him for when he posts things.
Nice.
Anyways, decided a little random plug there.
I've seen those Broncos when I was at Ford dealership. They are cool. I mean, they're like twice as much as, 1.5, 2 times as much as a Maverick. And I was like, ugh.
I know.
My Frontier will do all that. not as easily, but it will.
Not with a big screen on the inside.
Yeah.
It does have an amazing screen. Matt has a really good underquilt story. I'll let you share the underquilt story in the tank.
Which one?
The really nice purple underquilt that you did that whole video review.
Oh, my top quilt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same thing.
Yeah. So we were sleeping in the tank the second night
that we had it. Like we had only had it 2 nights.
Okay.
Yeah. We were in the Ozarks. It was that first trip, base camping, and we didn't have a diesel heater. We didn't have our electric blanket with us.
We wanted bare minimum to see how cold it was going to get in there.
But I took my buddy heater. And the second night it got pretty cold, like 20s, I think. It got cold.
Anyways.
Get to the point. So we were sleeping with my really nice Enlightened equipment down top quilt.
So nice.
But that keeps me nice and cozy.
$400 top quilt.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's high. It's a high dollar top quilt sleeping bag thing.
Yeah.
And it is worth every penny of it. But it slid off of our bed and fell onto the buddy heater.
Oh.
And just real quick, Kira said, I smell something burning.
Oh, God.
And I was aware that it slid off the back. And I jumped up, and sure enough, I mean, it fell on the buddy heater. The material started to melt. Luckily, not burn.
I'm laying next to him, and he keeps asking me if I'm cold. At this point, I'm just really mad that I'm in this situation. Like, I'm questioning my life choices of marrying this man. And he's like, are you fine? As I wipe a tear from my eye, I'm like, I'm fine. I'm okay. Let's go to sleep. Yeah. Something's burning. And then he gets up and he's like, there is a goose
it looked like someone had murdered a goose inside the tank. Down feathers everywhere. Mm-hmm. It was horrible. And I was so upset about the loss of my top quilt.
In our new
it was like
camper.
What, 2-3 a.m. and I'm about in tears.
Everywhere, feathers.
Yeah, that's awful.
It was bad.
We walked out the next morning, and Robert, he drives the 4Runner you've seen in our videos, and he goes, well, I heard Matt tried to tar and feather you last night.
Jeez. Yeah,
I feel like
buddy heaters are scary.
Feathers.
Yeah. I just do like the hot hands and like a wool blanket because it scares the crap out of me to have a propane heater in there.
That's twice now that Matt's tried to kill his wife with a buddy heater.
It doesn't take much, I've heard. So
no.
With a buddy,
the first time he
we don't have much luck with the buddy heaters.
The first time he thought he would become Tony Stark in Iron Man, and he would just make a shield to project the heat on the top of the buddy heater.
Seems like a solid plan.
But the way he had wrapped the shield around the buddy heater.
Aluminum foil.
Was it made of down?
No. I melted the handle on the buddy heater.
In our enclosed little camper that we had before, the VRV
That's terrifying.
And so I'm smelling burning plastic.
Jeez. You did too good of a job with your shield, Matt.
Well, I wrapped it the wrong way. I wrapped it over the handle, so it directed the heat back toward instead of wrapping it under the handle, because it was aluminum foil, so it doesn't, it doesn't.
So lesson for the night, kids: it is important the way you wrap things.
Let's just not put heaters inside of tents or trailers.
But now we have a diesel heater. So
yeah, diesel's the way to go, man. That's
Do you have
my
a
next
diesel
winter.
heater?
I'll have one, I think.
Okay, you don't have one yet.
No. Well, I mean, again, this is why my wife and kids don't go overlanding with me, is because like I'm just like a kid from Southern Indiana where we just rough it. Like I don't complain. I'm just used to it. I just go out and I'm like, yeah, that sucked. That was cold last night, but I don't ever learn or do anything about it. I just deal with it. And I'm hitting that point where as I get older, where I'm like, you know what? Yeah, if I just had a diesel, like I can stay warm in my sleeping bag, but if you have to get up to pee, it's the worst. Getting up the next morning, it sucks. But if you had a heated tent and you could like wake up and like, get your watch on and your shirt on and like, that would be.
Well, apparently Matt doesn't ever get out of if he goes in a hammock, he just takes, apparently it's an Arizona tea bottle. I learned this. I have learned this the hard way because I got out of the back of Matt's Gladiator and I said, hold on, please. I'm just going to mute Matt. So I got out of the back of Matt's Gladiator and I see this Arizona tea bottle. And I'm like, what woman you been having up in here drinking an Arizona green tea bottle? I don't drink no green tea.
Ha! I can mute myself.
Oh, there you found it.
I do not use the pee bottle in my hammock. I have never tried that.
When he goes to sleep, he pours it all over himself. No,
Robert can use his pee bottle in his hammock. I have not tried it because I've not slept in. I will use the pee bottle in my rooftop tent all night long.
No, you won't. Not when I'm in there.
I know. But if you're not there, I sleep good.
Yeah.
Anyways, Fletch.
This conversation has gone awry.
Welcome to my show.
Yeah, right.
With Matt.
Perfect.
You wanted me on.
Oh, what am I going to do with you two? All right, Fletch. So tell us a little bit about All Things Overlanding in your show and where people can find you, check out your merch, all those things. I know I've checked out your website.
Yeah, allthingsoverlanding.com. I mean, it has links to everything on there too, but I mean, like I mentioned earlier, it's what I think is unique about it is, again, I'm like we've talked about, right? Like I have a full-time job, so I don't get to, I'm not like Matt. I don't just get to go on trips all the time. I have a job and I have to work at it and then go when I can. So like, I'm more of like a weekend warrior type, like part-timer type person. So that's what a lot of my content's about, is like, if you can get out, when you can get out, if you got that, Toyota Prius, hit some gravel and go camp, like that kind of stuff. Like we talked about,
hit it carefully if you're in a Prius.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not recommending like smashing it into trees or anything, but I mean, there's a ton of stuff you can do. You don't have to hit all the deepest water crossings in the Ozarks to go out and explore and have some fun. So that's kind of like, I'm like a lighter, soft roader type, probably. I mean, I like hitting the hard stuff too with Frontier, but I'll have both covered. So it'll be soft roading type stuff and just more about like camping and gear, and then some that's like hard trails and exploring and that kind of stuff, like coming out and hanging out with you guys. So Facebook, Instagram, the podcasts on all major podcast channels, everything's called All Things Overlanding. So if you just Google it or go to allthingsoverlanding.com, you'll find everything on there. So yeah, everybody's welcome. Come hang out.
That's awesome. We love watching all your gear reviews. However, I did not know about the new Maverick. I have failed.
I did not. Very disappointed.
Matt didn't either, for the record.
I didn't either.
I mean, I've only made like 1 or 2 videos where I mention it, so it's pretty new. Like the last week and a half or 2.
When are you planning on getting it? Do you know?
I ordered it middle of December. They were telling me 3 to 4 months. Yeah. So hopefully by like April at the latest.
Do you get updates? Like, do you know?
I mean, I know that my order is confirmed and it's been a month. That's all I know so far. So yeah, I think at some point they'll give me a production date. That'll be the next step. So that'll be exciting. But I've heard mine's a pretty standard build. Like it's an XLT mid trim with all the options and stuff. So like, it's not like I'm waiting on a hybrid. They had a big delay on the hybrids because of EPA stuff that they had to get approved.
Oh,
but so I've heard that, my type of truck is being built pretty quick, like a few months probably. So hopefully by like March would be great.
Yeah. Nathan just wanted to throw this out and say he also ordered a Bronco in
Big
December.
Boy.
Yeah.
I bet you get your Maverick first.
So we could do like a little see who gets which one first.
Yeah. There you go. I think the Maverick's really cool. Like, yeah, you're not going to do crazy trails in it, but it can do literally everything else pretty well. So
I think I would probably compare that to Nathan's like ZR2. Like that's kind of comparable. No?
It's smaller.
Yeah, it's the ZR2 is more like Frontier.
Is the Maverick the only compact truck out now?
The only things they really compare it to aren't really comparable. Like the Hyundai Santa Cruz, that weird trucky SUV-ish
That's
thing.
an El Camino.
Yeah, and
that's Hyundai's version of an El Camino.
It's way more expensive. Like that's the thing too, is it's like it starts $8,000 to $10,000 more than the Maverick. Mm-hmm. So it's just way more expensive. Honda Ridgeline, they compare it to, but that's not very similar. Yeah.
Nathan goes, whoa,
there's really not a lot
the
like
same.
it. Yeah. That's why I got excited about it, because it's like it's actually trucky. It's actually still kind of cool looking, I think. And it's, even though it's based on a Bronco Sport, I think a Bronco Sport, unfortunately, sorry if you have one or like them, they're not very cool, but I like the Maverick, and the Maverick appeals to me. So
yeah,
I don't know. Someday I may buy another one and slam it. I don't know. Who knows? You'd have two, a slammed one and a raised one. It'd be cool. They look really good low, is all I'm saying.
That's awesome. Well, I'll tell you what, Fletch, it has been so much fun having you on tonight. I have looked forward to this for a long time. I'm sorry we didn't get to have our regularly scheduled program last night because COVID.
I hope you had wine.
I didn't. I went to bed. Well, and I didn't sleep good because I had to get back into work. Ugh. Healthcare workers and COVID is fun.
Yeah, COVID sucks. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for having me. It was great. I mean, I met you guys at Moore last year, and I got to see Matt at Core a few months ago. So it's just the more we hang out, the more fun we have.
I'm super excited to see you again at Moore.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be there in April.
And then y'all need to plan the trip afterwards. Are you through the lakes?
Mm-hmm.
Are you planning on camping at Moore, or are you getting?
That was kind of my thought. I haven't really started to think about plans yet, but I want to.
You need to, because you.
Yeah. They're actually. I'll message you after.
Actually, I'm gonna tell everybody good night. I'm gonna tell everybody good night, and then we can stick around.
Good night, everybody. Thanks for coming
off the show. Thanks, you guys, so much for showing up to me and watching Wonder Repeat. We've had a blast. Thanks, Fletch, again, and of course to my crazy husband, Matt. Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.